I'm talking about employment communication. What is employment communication? Employment communication is the exchange of information between an organization and external entities such as clients, suppliers, stakeholders, and the general public to build relationships, promote the organization, and manage its reputation. Employment communication is also a mode of communication used for employees, but specifically for accepting applicants for a job. It includes application letter, follow-up communications, interview, and resume.
The next on the content is the terminologies in employment communication. Below are the key terminologies in employment communication. Number 1, we have resume. Resume is a document that job applicants use to summarize the applicant's experience, educational background, and special skills. While the next one is the curriculum vitae. The curriculum vitae is a document that job applicants use to showcase their academic and professional accomplishments. The CV is a Latin word which means course of life. So the next terminologies we have here is the cover letter. A cover letter is a 3 or 4 paragraph memo to employers explaining your interest in the job and company and your fitness for the role, while the last one of the terminologies is the interview. An interview is a face-to-face interpersonal event which at least one planner has to achieve a specific goal.
Parts of a CV and resume: contact information, education. This includes your educational backgrounds, the list of schools and institutions, professional associations, institutional services, community involvement, specialized talents, honors and awards, grants received, publications, current research if you're working on any research or past ones, extracurricular activities, additional private data, experience, that's the history of your works, and licenses and certifications.
Supporting documents to CV and resume have cover letters, certificates, transcripts, letters of recommendation, portfolios, and reference lists.
Now we move to process of writing an attractive CV and resume. Number 1, obtain information. That's the first thing we do. You need to find out your personal information. Whatever you need, your experience and all what you have before, make sure you gather it and then gather it up. The second one, select a format. You now choose either of these 4 formats. Either it should be chronological or skill-based or biographical or your individual choice. Then that is that. The next one is what? Means that's proper style. Now, proper style, there are ways to write CV and resume, and then there are people like want to apply for a job, you are now using another style. No, they are well organized. You will use a well organized style for it. Now, the last one but not the least is what? Edit and proofreading. This is the mistake most people make. They will not read, they will not proofread what they have done before. So now it is necessary for you to proofread and then edit what you have written before.
Writing cover letters. A cover letter is a written sample that you send as an application letter. That is when you're looking for a job, you send a cover letter with your application letter. And for a job that is being specifically advertised, and the letter objective was to introduce you to your employer, express your interest in the company and the roles in the question. That means your interest in that job or in that company. So you have to tally it with in your covers letter, and therefore, your cover letter needs to be tailored to a particular point, to a particular position of interest. That means the work you're interested in. I already said that before. And much like your resume, then when submitting a resume, a cover letter is expected unless you are attending a job fair or have been told not to include one. If you're told not to include one, then you should not add a cover letter. But most jobs, they always ask for cover letter and application letter. Thanks.
Steps in writing a cover letter. Number 1, go over to the job advertisement to learn about the job requirements. Number 2, examine your resume qualification, which is your educational background, your experience, and your skills. Number 3, tailor your cover letter to a specific position. Then the last one, check and edit for spelling errors, punctuation, grammar, and accuracy.
Structure of a cover letter. A cover letter should be formatted like a business letter with these sections. We have header,
You should include a few pieces of personal and role-specific information at the top of your cover letter to make it easier for a hiring manager or a recruiter to follow up with you. We have greeting. Address your letter to this person with a common business greeting, such as dear first and last name or dear position title. Avoid using to whom it may concern. We have introductory paragraph. In just 2 or 3 phrases, you describe yourself and the reason for your letter to the employer. The next one is body paragraph. Describe your interest in the role and company, as well as why you will be a great fit for it in 1 or 2 paragraphs. The last one is the closing paragraph. A paragraph should have no more than 2 or 3 sentences in length. Finish with your signature, your type name, and a professional phrase like sincerely or best regards.
I'm talking on the topic interviewing for jobs. Firstly, what is an interview? An interview is a communication technique that involves the exchanging of ideas between 2 people. It also came from the French word interviewer or interview, which means to see one another or to meet. Now, some scholars also defined interviewing. Gibson and Nana in 1992 defined interview as a face-to-face interpersonal event in which at least one person has planned to achieve a specific goal. Another scholar was also Pearson and Nelson in 1994 defined interview as the didactic communication contest with a purpose or a goal. That is, an interview, 2 or more parties communicate in a prepared situation, primarily by asking and answering questions.
So I'll be talking about objectives and aims of interview. So interviews are conducted for the following reasons: to assess the candidate's qualification, to assess the can-do, verify or cross-check information obtained, to establish mutual understanding between business and the candidates, to be counseled by a counselor based on a report, to review and evaluate employees' performance, and to obtain displeasure by the employees, clients, and customers.
I'll be talking about the types of interviews. Under the types of interviews, we have 2 main types of interviews: types by purpose of interviews and types by mode of interviews. Under the types by purpose of interviews, we have screening interview, follow-up interview. Screening interview is a brief meeting to try to reduce the number of applicants who fit the employment requirements. Follow-up interviews are nearly always carried out in person and can consist of 1 in-person interview or a sequence of consecutive interviews with people or groups. The next is type by mode of interview. We have telephone/video or webcam interviews, and we also have in-person interviews. Telephone/video or webcam interviews involves the use of telephones, videos, or webcam. In-person interviews can take many different forms and require physical presence. Under the in-person interviews, we have in one-to-one interviews, and we also have group interviews.
So if you want to ace your interviews, these are the advices that you should follow. Before the interview, you need to research about the company, resource relevant materials, and also practice your answers for the interviews. I would like to hand over to my colleague.
So as my colleague said, so during the interview, be there earlier, like be there on time, 30 minutes before your time. So be kind to everyone, the receptionist and co. So try to find a common ground. Pay attention before you speak, like stay calm, don't stress yourself and don't give false information. Communicate with clarity and intention. Let them know like you are already there, you clarify about the company and everything. So after the interview, allocate time for introspection. Write a letter of gratitude and confirmation.
Pitfalls to be avoided during interviews: going in without any research, arriving late, speaking negatively about current or previous employers, dressing inappropriately, poor body language, and unclear answers and rambling.
Alright, so I'll continue from where she stopped. Not getting the tone right, displaying low or too much energy, lying on your CV at the interview, forgetting with your mobile phone and other distraction, having 0 questions to ask, and no follow up or thank you email.
We have not come to the conclusion of employment communication. My colleagues have mentioned interview, resume, CV, and other things. So I'm doing conclusion on it now. Employment communication needs to be effective, and then it's a motivated process that requires careful attention to details and planning. By focusing on creating some CV and resume, creating planned, personalized cover letters, following up indicators, and preparing thoroughly for interviews. Job seekers significantly enhance their chance of securing their desired positions. So if these steps here is being executed well, we believe that you will get your job with ease.